Hello and welcome to the Slingshot Channel. Today I have something really special for you. The Ranchero Arrow air pistol. Let me show you its features. So this is an FX Airgun arrow pistol. It is using compressed air, of course, to shoot the arrow, and it's shooting the arrow over the barrel, which means that in Germany it's not considered a gun, even though it's very powerful. Of course we are only shipping this within Germany. There are distributors for FX Airguns around the world, and they of course also sell the pellet shooting versions, which are great air guns, but unfortunately regulated in Germany. Now a lot of people say, well, you know, air pistols are for pellets and not for arrows. Why are you using arrows? Isn't that weird? It's not. You know, you use arrows on air guns in general if you want to hunt something larger than mice or maybe rabbits. So with this you can really hunt bigger game. You can easily hunt deer, and I don't know what not. I mean, I think you can probably kill a bear with that if you hit it right. Not that I'm recommending using this for bear hunting. So if you want to shoot with it, it's very simple. You got the cocking lever here. You know, here you can see on the gauge if you still have enough air. You know, you need to refill when you reach about 110 bar. So I mean, I usually fill this up to 250. The manufacturer recommends 220 as maximum pressure. So you cock the thing, and then you aim just like normal with the red dot sight that I put on. And bang! And if you want to shoot again, recock, put on another arrow, pang. It's not even loud. In terms of arrows, we have a choice. These are the standard arrows that we get from Sweden. Those are made from carbon fiber shafts. Of course the tip is screwed on, so you can remove it and then exchange it against any other tip. This is a medium heavy field tip, but you can put in any other one. It's up to you. Then we have these very, very inexpensive bolts that I actually made myself from standard Chinese aluminum bolts. I just shortened them so that they have the correct length. And they also have screwed in tips, so you can use the same tips that you can use for the other arrow. And then we have these, and these are actually super light carbon fiber bolts with a glued in aluminum tip. This means they only weigh 7 grams or 8 grams. It's about the half of the weight of these ones here, and you use those if you want to do some long distance shooting, because they're obviously a lot faster. Alright, then let's do 5 shots against the target. Distance is 10 meters. Let's see what happens. Dann schauen wir mal nach. Yeah, as you can see, 2 went a little low. I'm not the greatest marksman in the world, but I guess you can see this was freestanding. Yeah, the result wasn't bad. Certainly the pistol needs to be tuned a little bit to the right, because then everything will be right on target. Okay, now we're shooting the 35-meter distance, which is quite far for any pistol like this. And of course also the red dot sight. I really like it, but of course it doesn't have any any magnification, and therefore it's kind of hard. I would consider it a success if all of my 4 shots actually hit the target. And also what I have to say is that I'm shooting the super lightweight 8 gram arrows with the aluminum tips. From the sound of it, it sounds like all 4 hit the target. Okay, the result from 35 meters distance is not so bad, right? People ask how many shots can you do? Well, if you use the standard 220 bar that is recommended by the manufacturer, you can do about 8 shots until you need to repump, because then you will start to lose arrow speed. Now, how is this possible, even though there's obviously no regulator in this? Well, this is self-regulating valve. And actually the owner of FX Airgun, Frederick, has a patent on this. You can read how he's done it in his patent, I guess, but he really did it in a great way, since this allows it to be very compact and very lightweight, and still you don't have that typical drop that otherwise you would have in between shots of an unregulated air pistol. Since, of course, the original bolts are threaded, you can, of course, use the original medium weight field tip. I even filed one down so it's edgy, so I can use them to break chainmail or something. Then you can use standard field tips, 3D field tips. I get these from out of China. They're very sturdy and inexpensive, and they cause a lot more damage than a field tip. They're also heavier. And there's even a new one that we will test later on in this video that has a twisted tip, and it's supposed to actually turn the arrow in flight, further stabilizing the flight path. Interesting. And of course you could put on standard broadheads. These are really one time only because they're usually broken after you shoot them one time. But they look very mean, and of course they cause a lot of damage. Okay, of course we also want to find out what happens when you use this thing to fight against a zombie. Even though, of course, this is not made to fight zombies, still we want to find out. And therefore I prepared a little bit of ballistic gelatin. And I already attached a little bit of skin made from leather to simulate the skin of the zombie. But this time that won't be sufficient for today's test, because we want to outfit the zombie with clothes. First we take this a little bit stained matching undershirt made from cotton. And then, for good measure, we don't know if that zombie came from a cosplay medieval event. Therefore I have some riveted chainmail. And last not least, a tunic coat. Let's see if the pistol is strong enough to penetrate all that. So we're now using this very pointy tip. It's actually twirled, and therefore we're also shooting from about 7-8 meters distance, so nobody can say I'm always shooting at point blank. It seems like it penetrated the whole thing. Let's take a look. So the tunic positively penetrated. The chainmail, clearly it penetrated it. The t-shirt, the skin leather, and also take a look how deep the nasty point penetrated into the flesh. Here you can really see how that tip kind of exploded through the chainmail. These cheap tips are interesting. I get them from out of China. They are very inexpensive, and they're kind of twisted in the hope that they will make the entire arrow spin in flight. Now let's switch the high-speed camera over to from 1500 frames to 5000 frames per second, so that we can catch the recording. It will have a more narrow picture, but of course a lot more pictures per second. I will go down on my knees to have a straight shot so the camera can record the entire flight. Okay, it did turn in flight, which you can clearly see in the high-speed recording, but you can also see it if you just look at the wound canal. You can see that it is in fact twisting. One of the things I really like about the Ranchero is how simple it is built, because there's only one screw that you have to remove, and then you can take the shaft away. And it's very easy to make your own shafts, allowing you to do all kinds of crazy devices with it without destroying the gun in any way. So all you have to do is you just take the proper Allen key, and then you can unscrew it. There it is. And this is the pistol. And you can see the genius of the Swedes, because this is so simple if you keep in mind what has to happen in an airgun, which of course is a much more complicated construction in comparison with the firearm. Firearm is really a simple little thing. But this here has a 300-gram match trigger, and it's actually adjustable. Of course you have the pressure gauge, you have all the air reservoir, you have the hammer spring here. So it is a very ingenious design, allowing you to put on all kinds of different stocks, and that's exactly what I've done. Okay, for example, I made this little shaft that turns it into a mini carbine. So I put this in like this, and then of course put in the single screw, that same screw as original. And now I have made myself a small, sweet little micro rifle, and of course I could also put on a larger scope, because now it is really easy to aim with this thing. Okay, but that wasn't sufficient, because this is the Slingshot Channel, and we put anything to the extreme. This is no exception. So I put two of these side by side, so that now I have a two-shot, you know, small carbine, powerful, with a big scope. I kind of love it. What I did do is I put the two triggers, maybe you can see this better this way, I put them a little bit at an angle, so this one is the left one is more to the front, so I can go one shot, two shots, or can go to both barrels at the same time. And of course I benefit from the fact that the FX design allows you to put the lever, the cocking lever, to the other side. Okay, if I want to shoot with it, of course I have to cock both barrels first, and then I'm shooting, and first we're now going left barrel, right barrel. Okay, let's shoot both barrels at the same time. Let's take a look. I'm extremely happy with this. I mean, look at that. The distance is almost the same as it was on the barrels of the gun. And I think it's a clear proof how accurate these guns are. Very accurate. Okay, so now I am at 130 bar, and it's time to refill it. There's three possibilities how to do it. You can use this hand pump, which is of course the cheapest way to do it. But you could of course also use a compressor. These compressors start from about $200 right from out of China, and they're of course very comfortable. And the third possibility is to use a Scuba Bottle, and then just go to the scuba shop in order to get them refilled. Then of course you can refill the pistol within a fraction of a second, but still you have to transport that bottle once it's empty, and that could be uncomfortable. So, okay, how much does this cost? Well, first of all, we're only shipping into Germany and Austria, because that's our sales territory for FX Airguns. If you want one in your country, you need to talk to the FX Airguns distributor, and you can get the contact info on the fxairguns.com website. So what is my conclusion about the FX Airguns Ranchero Arrow? I think it's an amazing weapon. It is powerful, it is comfortable to hold if you are a right-hander. It has plenty of shots for the tiny magazine, I think. It is very accurate. I love the match trigger, which is only 300 grams, so it's very lightweight. It's a fantastic product, I think, and unique on the market. I think everybody needs one in the collection. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this, because that's it for today. Thanks and bye-bye.